Hello and welcome to Who Remembers, the UK Nostalgia Podcast. And in our first episode, we are asking, who remembers the first ever National Lottery?
The very first draw in Britain's new National Lottery.
Sinclair believe their C5, Britain's first mass-produced electrical car,
was something called the internet.
Got sharking, festive, but none of the locals go paddling. Yeah, that's warming.
No bottle is get! I can't speak!
You can't win anything with kids.
Pac-Man, one of the superstar video games in the business.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
Get fooled, you can't get fooled again.
Remember when is the lowest form of conversation.
Hello. So this is the first ever episode of the podcast Who Remembers. I'm one of the hosts. I'm Liam. I'm often referred to as Leroy by myself predominantly. Yeah. And the other host is Andrew, Andreas we sometimes call you. Don't
Andrea got loads of names. Andreas, Panchero, Roy.
Hagenson, Jim Hagenson.
Jim Hagenson's look a bit like Jim Davidson. But it's a new era. So people may have heard our old podcast, Living with Maidley. That's still out there, isn't it? You can still get those episodes. That were a TV nostalgia podcast. You still get them.
And this is, so for anyone who's kind of joined us now thinking, I don't even know who these guys are, whether they're going to stick with it. We did the non-award-winning podcast Living with Maidley. That I think there's about 160 episodes. So
too many, if anything. Yeah, too many.
Yeah, but we're in it for the long haul. We're not. This is not just.
We're not in it for the money.
Quit it.
Yeah, we're in it for the love.
Not now. It'd be embarrassing.
Yeah, but so
it costs us money to do this. So we're absolutely not in it for the money. But this. Cut a very long story short. If you want to go back and listen to any of our stuff, if you haven't already, the podcast Living with Maidley. We started out, the premise being we were born one day apart. You're one day older, a few months less wise than me.
I say one day wise, but you beat me to it. Go on.
Yeah. So, and we always remember Maidley being on our TV. So we did Living with Maidley. Made loads of sense at the time. We thought it was really clever. Nobody knew what it was, whether we lived with Richard Maidley or not. And also, and this is the key, I think. We love the TV stuff. We're not going away from the TV stuff.
Well, funnily enough, like because this is going to be a more general nostalgia podcast. This is why we moved away from the TV stuff. But the first two episodes we picked to do could have easily been as TV podcast, to be fair. So we've not thought it through. But there's going to be loads of different stuff, isn't there? There's going to be
the thought process is we love the TV retro stuff. We're going to keep doing that. But we got to a stage where we actually preferred the specials. So we did. End of series specials where we gave ourselves a bit more freedom. They weren't TV, and we want to do a bit more of that. So you're still going to get loads of retro TV. If you remember 80s, 90s, 2000s, join us because that's the sort of thing we remember. Yeah. But even if you don't, we'll remember it for you. So I think.
Yeah. So you see, you either remember with us or we remember it for you. So you can't. It's a no lose situation, to be honest.
Win-win. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're in a no-lose situation. So, just a few. If anyone's got any ideas for us to do, obviously, messages. We're on new Twitter account at Who Remembers Pod. We're on Blue Sky Who Remembers Pod, and we're on Who Remembers Pod at Outlook as the email. So, if you've got any, so cleverly thought of the same thing same title for all three different bits of social media there. But if you've got any ideas, so one of the things we're going to do at some point in the upcoming pods is we're going to try and remember a movie without watching it before. So we're going to start. I don't know.
We will have seen it, but not.
But sorry, we're not going to have watched it.
Can't remember something we haven't seen. Even we're not that good at remembering.
No. So let's say Back to the Future. I have seen Back to the Future. I've only seen about 100 films, so it's going to be pretty tricky. We're not going to watch it before, and we're going to see if how good we can actually remember.
Yeah, let's see if we can nail the story. Yeah.
So if anyone's got any ideas for films, albums you want us to look at, or even songs or whatever, believe you me, we will do an episode on it.
Yeah, if it's kind of in the time period that we can physically remember it, then we'll remember it. So,
and even if it isn't, we'll probably get a girl.
We might remember it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And do you know what? Like, all sort of joking aside, one thing for anyone who's followed us from the Living with Maidley podcast that we absolutely want to keep is that listener engagement. So however obscure it seems, it can be a chocolate bar, a toy, a DVD. If there's something you want us to try and remember, let us know, because we love all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, anything goes on this. But the first one that we picked is the first ever national lottery, and the reason we picked this, I can't remember, but obviously you've heard the theme tune. That's a new theme tune. People are going to go, no, it's not as good as the Madeley theme tune. Stick with it. It's a grower, isn't it, Liam? It's a grower.
Yeah, and I won't say we clash on things. I think we generally agree, but I think I'll call you out when I think sometimes I don't understand what you're on about. But I do think it's important the listeners acknowledge that, yes, there is AI involvement in the theme tune, but you actually wrote the melody because you are fairly talented on the guitar.
Unbelievably talented, yeah. And people.
I thought you'd. You know what? I thought you'd say, "Oh no, that," and sort of down. Unbelievably talented.
Probably. I don't want to brag, but I'm probably the best songwriter in South Yorkshire. I would have thought. I don't think that's much of a debate, to be honest. But people will be thinking, "Oh yeah, but it's not the same."
Pure AI. AI.
The old Madeley theme tune was obviously acoustic, but I'm not AC/DC. I'm not Noel Gallagher. I like to spread my wings into different genres. So I'm into the electronica genre. Who knows what'll be next? Probably reggae, to be honest.
Well, you've certainly dabbled in that sphere before, so yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not.
I've heard some of your reggae stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so.
But no, like, genuinely, like the point I'm trying to make there is, what I really like about the theme tune is that, yes, there is AI involvement, but the clips obviously are real clips, and the melody was sort of driven by something you did. So,
correct.
Yeah, there is some authenticity to that, I would say.
Yeah.
And why we picked the lottery, by the way, I'm slightly confused by that, because we hope it's going to be entertaining. We hope it's going to be amusing. It's quite a dry thing that we've picked for our first episode, but I suppose if we can make this entertaining, then we can do anything, can't we?
I'll be honest, the reason I said it is because my idea is because it's the first clip in the theme tune. That's why I just mentioned the theme tune. So I thought people straight away will be going, all right, they're going through all the clips like as the first episodes. No, we're just going to start with this one though.
No, just lazy. Just that was the first thing that we listened to when we listened back.
This was huge. So the UK's first ever franchise lottery was set up in 1993 by a certain John Major. So that's politics covered already for the podcast. Straight away done that. And the first
by John Major.
Yeah, well, the government. No, obviously not. John Major didn't. You know what I mean? Start writing on all polls and stuff. But it was the John Major government that gave it the okay for the first time, because obviously they had it in America for ages.
We've debated this. I think we should be predominantly remembering you have done a little bit of research, but
this is where research based. But no,
this is where I have to lean on you a little bit. So I know. I'm pretty confident this is 94. But what date are we talking here?
19th of November, 1994, and obviously it came along with the television program, which you have seen. So I've sent it. Yeah, presented by. Everyone can watch it on YouTube. Presented by Mr. Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, and if you stayed with us from the Living with Madeley, nemesis is a strong word, but he's certainly not a friend of mine, Noel Edmonds.
No, he's a foe, isn't he? If anything, he's definitely a foe rather than a friend. 25 million people tuned in. Now, I'm no good with maths, but that's like nearly half of the population of Britain.
The population be then it would be about
60 million. I don't know. Yeah,
it is, but yeah,
that's incredible.
Probably talking about half the people in the UK were watching this.
Sorry, carry on.
What do you remember it being quite a grand thing? Because I've got an anecdote that could be slightly ruined by facts if I really unpick it. But I've certainly got a memory of the first ever draw. But do you remember watching it live?
I don't remember watching the first draw live. I've got a feeling that I'll have been at my nan's house because obviously we were both still at school here, so we couldn't afford to buy. We weren't allowed to buy a ticket because I think you had to be 16.
Elsie.
Yeah, Elsie. No, in fact, my other nan, dead now.
Oh, sorry. All right. So I've never met your other
Betty. Yeah, sadly no longer with us. But I'm pretty sure I watched it with her. And I did definitely pick some numbers out that I presume either my dad said he'd put on. More likely, he didn't put on and just told me that he had. And then we did watch it, and I remember it like being this sort of like it were a massive event. I mean,
do you know what that makes me think of another scandal actually involving the National Lottery that happened. So, sorry. So there's two things there. So the first memory I have of National Lottery is it was on. My dad was working away somewhere, so my mum had said to me and my brother, write down your 6 numbers and we'll see how well we do. So obviously we didn't put the numbers on. We just wrote them on a bit of paper. I remember my dad coming into the room and the sort of, again, in my mind, the draw was just about to go live, and my dad sort of said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Yeah, we've all picked out 6 numbers. He sort of snatched the paper away and threw it in the bin and said, "Are you mad? Because if those numbers come in, you'll never be more devastated in your life." Like you would, and I remember sort of thinking, "Yeah, that's right. Actually, why would we pick numbers and not play them?" But
yeah. That'd have been. Yeah, imagine that the first. I was talking to my mum earlier actually about this. I said, "You remember the first ever lottery?" She said, "Oh, I was really nervous that I'd win." What?
Yeah. Said, what would you do if you won it?
Yeah, but she said obviously the hype of the first winner. And to be fair, there wasn't really our first winner. There were loads of separate winners. But she was like, "Oh, if I won it, like imagine that front and centre, the first ever lottery." Like she was really nervous that she was going to win. I don't know why she put it on if she was that bothered.
Well, I think when my dad commando rolled through the window and karate kicked the numbers out of my hand. I probably did at that moment think, yeah, he's right. What would I have done if I won it?
He should have just put them on.
Because I don't think he knew we were going to play it. I think he'd sort of come in saying, "Oh, what are you doing Saturday night?" "Oh, yeah, we've just written down these numbers." What? Do you know, like
what? Yeah.
What on earth are you doing? Like wide-eyed, like.
Yeah.
And he's right because, and it sort of feeds into my second anecdote actually, which is that
I love an anecdote. I got two in 5 minutes. Brilliant.
So my grandma used to play it every week, and I know sort of people say this, but she didn't really want the money for herself. She was desperate for family and friends and whatever else. But
she says that she'd have been on a fucking plane to Vegas, like seriously, should have won. Where's she gone? Don't know. They're like with shades on,
pina colada on the plane. But
yeah.
No, she used to draw numbers out. So she used to have a regular line of numbers. And this is another thing, by the way, with the National Lottery, you have to be very careful of. So if you play regular numbers, you're tied to them forever. Because imagine the week you don't do them and they come in.
Yeah.
But anyway, but she used to pick your line of numbers, 9, 10, 12, 26, 27, 30, I think. But she also used to draw numbers out of a hat, literally out of a hat. She had all the piece of paper folded up. And there was a particular week where she picked out the numbers and she drew 3 in a row. I don't know if it's 25, 26, 27, whatever they were. And she thought, nah, you can't have 3 in a row. Put them back in, shuffled them up, did it again. Oh. The numbers that she'd drawn out would have been 5 in the bonus, which I think was like 100 grand or something like that at the time. Huge amount of money, but
sounds right, to be honest. You can't do it.
Don't you?
My dad does it sometimes when we're on holiday, and we'll have the accumulator on football, and sometimes he'll just pick numbers out rather than picking teams out. So right, match number 4.
Just numbers, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll say Ipswich versus Wolves, and sometimes he'll go, "Oh, I can't see it," and he'll go against it, and honestly, 99% of the time he'll come in. I don't know, you'll get something like Arsenal versus Southampton. You think Southampton aren't going to score at Arsenal. I'm not having that one. Then obviously Southampton go 1-0 up, and you're kicking yourself. It's a massive part of the bet. Obviously, it's like at the biggest odds and stuff like that. You've got to stick with it.
If you stick with us on this journey, you'll see that quite a few things annoy me. But I'd say one of the things that I'm going to say nothing annoys me more, but it's a strong statement.
I don't know what you're going to say, but I doubt it.
I hate people who say, "We'll toss a coin to decide," and then don't go with it. If you're going to, the moment you toss that coin, you have to go with what that coin tells you. So if you say, I'm gonna go out tonight, or I'm not. Toss a coin. Heads will go out, tails are down. You get tails, so you're not going out, and then you think, actually, I'd quite like to go out tonight. You should never have tossed the coin.
No.
If you toss the coin, you have to do what the coin says. That's my stance on it. You're right. She should have played the numbers she drew. Played the numbers you dealt.
But anyway, just back on the actual the draw itself, the result, it was that big because it was the main news on BBC. You can get again a YouTube clip of Michael. I think it's not Michael Burke. Yeah, Michael Burke, 999. 999. I don't know if that was theme tune actually.
It never said diddle diddle, but I don't think it ever said 999.
They should use that as like when you're phoning for emergency services. 999. And Michael Burke. It's the main news at 10 or whatever it was, BBC, and the first National Lottery. Yeah, and they even showed the numbers during Blind Date, what were on ITV. Obviously, BBC got the rights to the National Lottery. But even on Blind Date, which were a massive show for ITV. even they obviously knew that they were going to lose a big chunk of audience, and they put the numbers on that. That's cross sort of. You don't really get that.
That encapsulates the area, doesn't it? The era, sorry, where Saturday night was absolutely who can get the ratings, BBC or ITV.
Yeah.
1994. What ITV recognised is that we can't compete with this big thing they've got going on. But actually, if we show it on our bit of TV, then
they might stick with it.
Theirs. So,
but surely, yeah, I mean, but as I said, we've both watched the first show, and I don't hate Edmonds as much as you. But it's very smug Edmonds, this, and it really is like a very,
full sort of smug raccoon mode. Like it's such an ego trip for him. This,
it's like, Edmonds will be. You know what I mean? Edmonds will be drawing the first ever national lottery.
All the public's eyes are on Edmonds, and I will be telling. Yeah, it's awful.
Anthony Turner gets involved as well.
I meant to ask you this because I've not seen the full. I don't know if it's an hour show or whatever. The clip I've seen is about 11 minutes long. He claims to be driving not only the lottery draw machine, but also the jackpot money on the back of a truck. Like,
he's a fucking liar, isn't he? You know what he's like, Edmonds.
Is he even driving that thing?
Can he drive?
If
anyone wants to know more about Edmonds, look at our last Christmas episode on Living with Maidley, where we dig deep into the man himself. So I'm not going to go through too much about Edmonds again, because we did an hour on him, actually.
Yeah.
And his mad beliefs and stuff. But yeah, this is so smug Edmonds. But it's Edmonds at his peak. You can't hide that. You can't
it's primetime Edmonds. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And he's delighted to be given this role. I mean, I'm trying to think who would be given it now. Would it be... Who'd get it on BBC now? Bradley Walsh? He's not on his ITV now, I think. But huge celebrities like that anymore, I don't think, as presenters. We're going to be covering one next week.
Claire
Balding's not going to be doing National Lottery. He's like the main...
Who's the sort of tall...
Claire Balding. You can't believe you said her in comparison to the great Noel Edmonds.
Who's the tall gay chap? The sort of quite handsome man, but he's a bit sort of... Rylan, yeah, he's a bit like cosmetic
he's not got the panache.
I could see him doing it now. I could see him.
I don't mind. I like the guy. I think he's I'm just having a look. Chris Evans actually did it. This before. I'm just looking at the people who have done it before. That go through more. Christopher Biggins did it. Mylene Class.
Jane Ritchie, in my mind, has done it. Has he not? Is that a false memory?
He's not on here. He's not on this list here. Brian Connell, I can absolutely imagine that. Terry Wogan. Yeah, he did it. Gabby Roslin, John Cleese, can't imagine. Maidley did it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So the number. Do you want to know what the numbers were, Liam? Are you interested at all? What the numbers were of the first ever national lottery draw?
3, 5, 14. They're the only ones I can remember. I watched it earlier today.
Oh right, yeah. 3, 5, 14, 22,
30,
44. And the bonus ball was 10. And there were 7 jackpot winners, and they all shared a prize of £5.8 million, which I think in today's money would be about 20 million. No, maybe a bit less than that, yeah.
It'd buy you a couple of pints today, wouldn't it?
You'd buy you a couple of drinks, yeah.
If you went to like a real ale pub, you took a pint and a half, aren't you?
I remember everyone thought, my mum was saying earlier, when I talked to her about it, because one of the things I'm going to try and do is talk to grandparents and parents about remembering as well. I said, what did you do with this? And she was saying, so I quizzed her earlier, and she was saying that she played it every week for about 3 months and then realised she was never going to win and just gave up, and she's not played it for absolutely ages.
Yeah, but good marketing though, because the premise was, and absolutely rightly so, it could be you. Like somebody could win it. It's £1. It's £1 out of your pocket.
I'm glad you've said that.
You're going to miss on that £1, but you could be a millionaire off the back of that £1.
You've got a 1 in 140 million chance of winning the jackpot, apparently. But the could be you thing that you said, that was huge at the time. I don't know if people will remember this, who, especially like younger people than us. The adverts it could be you. Oh no, it's you. That big blue hand. Remember?
Yeah, I thought it was like a gold hand.
I thought it was blue. Right. I don't know if I've imagined this, but I couldn't find it, so I'm looking for adverts. What is the one where a big blue hand pushes an old man through a shop window? Or did I dream that? I'm sure that it's you, and he goes, shh.
I think what you've done there is you've mixed up a National Lottery advert with an episode of the A-Team.
Honestly, I swear, it said, like, it's you, and this old man goes, like, flying through this window. That were a good marketing thing, though, because I remember Blair had a song a couple of years later called "It Could Be You." That "It Could Be You" were like a really good slogan because, like you said, that everyone, even though it's a 1 in £140 million £1 in 140 million chance of winning the jackpot, it could be you. It could be you. The last time I played,
literally could be, yeah. Like that's the point. Your £1 could buy you the jackpot, and that's the premise of the whole thing. Is that yeah, this is where sort of these sweepstakes and things like this come from. Is because the outlay is so low that the implication is you won't miss a pound.
What's that going to do with a pound?
Change your life forever.
You're going to get a packet of chewing gum with a pound. You can actually 80p, but you know what I mean. And it's £2 now, actually, isn't it?
Is the lottery £2 now? I don't even know that.
Well, I'm sure it is. The last time I played, and the reason I did it, and we'll get on to someone who was very much like this. Do you know those fortune tellers in like I've in Scarborough? Do you know when you put a pound in, and he says like magnificent or whatever?
Yeah.
And he was
I
like,
can't think what you call it. There's one in the film Big, isn't there? Like
fortune teller. And he
can't think what it is. Yeah.
And he was like, tonight your numbers, and it was the lottery that day, and he spat these numbers out on a piece of paper. I'm like that. I didn't even know it was lottery today. Like that has got to be a sign. Literally, like ran to the shop. Thought this is it. Like this is why. Why would I put a pound? Why did I put a pound in that machine in the first place? I don't know why I did it, and why did I didn't know it was the lottery. Watched the lottery. Couldn't wait for it. No numbers. So,
no numbers. Wow.
No, 0 numbers. But obviously, we can't talk about the lottery. So, and she wasn't even in the first one actually. But Mystic Meg was. Probably
I'm wondering whether the clip that I've seen is just had her removed, or was she not? Because in my head, she's part of it from the start. But was she not then?
No. Well, to be fair, she was on it from 1994, like a Mystic Meg Predicts segment. But I've watched the whole of the first episode, and like you said, unless they've taken her out for some reason, I don't think she were in that very first episode, but she can't have been much further behind because it says on Wikipedia, and obviously everyone knows Wikipedia's spot on, that she started in 1994, and this is November 94, so it could have only been a couple of weeks later. But she was massive, Mystic Meg.
6 weeks after that to go out. Yeah, I mean, this was quite clever on the lottery's parts because that became a sort of thing, didn't it? That obviously the draw itself, you can win, it could be you. But Mystic Meg became a bit of a sort of a cult figure. Do you see Mystic Meg? Like, I remember sort of people. It was a huge thing to be doing Mystic Meg in person. I predict that you will have.
She always used to say, and I think it's a good day for bin men too.
Yeah.
She always used to say that, but she was so vague. Like all horoscopes are. We were reading some horoscopes out in pub actually last Friday. It's just ridiculous. Like obviously, me and Tom, your mate, our mate, should I say, we're all Libras. And I'm reading out like that week's horoscope or whatever. I think how different weeks would have all had. And it's just like, I think it all kept saying, funny because we did Eggy, and I think he's Cancer. And it just said, do not give your money to anyone under any circumstances. Like, basically, I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do now.
Well, there's a thing in there where famous, apologies to any horoscope enthusiasts listening, but there's the Darren Brown thing where he got, I don't know, say 100 people of all different horoscopes. And he put in a sealed envelope a prediction for them, a kind of horoscope-based thing about them, and interviewed them, and they were all saying, I cannot believe how well he knows me. And everyone had got the same one, and it basically said, you're an eternal optimist, you hope for the best, you do the right thing, but sometimes feel it doesn't get recognised. It was like all the things that you kind of want to be, basically.
There's something that you want to create or something like that eventually, you know what I mean?
You had a massively successful podcast called Living with Mailer that didn't win any awards.
Imagine if he said that, every one of them. But on Mystic Meg, because I looked into her background purely because I wasn't sure if she was an actress or she was actually
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I've never thought about that. Was she a sort of clairvoyant or just somebody for the media to create it? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Her name was not Mystic Meg. I'm surprised. You're not surprised. It's Margaret Ann Lay. She passed away only a couple of years ago, actually. And she was actually the sub-editor of the News of the World in the 80s, and then became the deputy editor of Sunday, which is the Sunday supplement version, basically of that. And during that period, she became the paper's regular astrologer. So I don't really know if she was a qualified astrologer. She said that your grandma used to talk about astrology to her and all this sort of stuff, but she became, like, you obviously see it. What were her name? Not just Judah. Do you know, like you see the horoscopes, people? Russell Grant's one of them, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you actually. That was a question I had. Is who would you say is the most famous astrologer?
Why is Russell Grant so famous?
Because I think there's only 3 people who've ever sort of rose to fame by doing that. Mystic Meg.
Yeah, but at least Mystic Meg were on a prime time. I mean, I suppose Russell Grant. Well, you need to do that.
Someone used to do one for the Mirror. Someone used to do.
This is what I'm trying to think of, the Mirror one, and I can't remember what it was. Just on that, by the way, I can't believe they've still got Ask Colleen in the Sun or the Mirror, whichever one it is. Sometimes I'll read paper at work, and Ask
Colleen Rooney.
No, Colleen Nolan. Why would you imagine asking her of all people? Like, oh, I tell you what, Colleen. No offense to Colleen Nolan, she's just
like agony aunt sort of thing.
Yeah, she's not a psychologist. What you? Oh, I don't know what to do. My boyfriend, I think, he's cheated on me. I just don't know what to do. And she's saying, well, I just tell him straight. And why are you asking Colleen Nolan?
Well, what I told Shane Ritchie in that instance. Was she with Shane Ritchie?
Yeah, she was. It'd be good if every one of them. Well,
everyone refers back to Shane. Yeah. Well, when Shane said this.
Yeah, I mean, she fell out with her, didn't she? Kim, what's her name? He used to look at people's shit.
Kim Jong-un.
You are what you eat, woman. Kim.
Oh, yeah, Kim and Aggie.
Yeah, Kim and Aggie. I think it was her she fell out with. Anyway, you'll get more of this sort of stuff. I can't remember.
I've mentioned him, but once when I was walking back from school, I saw Shane Ritchie doing the Daz Doorstep Challenge. He went to the Quinn twins' mum, who were 2 Geordies living in Drumfield. Who were actually sound, Matt and Gary, but yeah.
They were brilliant. I was like, why won't they be just because the Geordies? They were, do you know what?
No, they were good guys, but
I know they were renowned for being terrorists.
No, I'm sort of saying this because this sort of sounds quite insulting, but the famous sort of joke around school was that the mum came to the door and said, "This is my teenage son's shirt, and it's all clean now because of Daz." And it was the smallest shirt. I mean, they've grown into sort of real size people, but they were quite small at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Furnace started walking back from school with shouted "Shaney baby," and he gave us a thumbs up.
Oh, that's all right, because it's better than your irrigation story, isn't it? When you threw a snowball at him, and yeah.
Oh, absolutely furious, yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, no longer with us, so not a great moment from you.
I didn't contribute directly to that, but
no, a few years before, but it probably had it in mind. But anyway, Mystic Meg, she were around for 6 years. When someone says the National Lottery, I don't think Edmonds, I don't think Camelot, I think Mystic Meg. Because even now, she's not been on TV. She can't get on TV for love of the money like Edmonds. She hasn't been on TV realistically for 25 years, and people still say like,
it's
"I'm not Mystic Meg."
For a certain generation, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just say, "Oh, Liam, why could you didn't see that?" "Oh, I'm not Mystic Meg." Do you know what I mean? She's still like seen as that sort of go-to.
Well, that thing as well, weren't there? That because she used to say, if you remember, like, I see that the numbers will be from someone who put the numbers in a book that's yellow that was kept near a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the winner would say, "Oh, well, I couldn't believe it, like, because obviously Meg had said about numbers being in a yellow book, and mine's in a yellow book, like, and I couldn't believe it." But then it's that thing of like, is it a self-fulfilling prophecy? Did they hear Mystic Meg say it's been a yellow book? So think, oh, well, I might as well put it in a yellow book. Is she creating?
Yeah, I'd like to know. I mean, we'll never know, but I would like to know how.
Well, we won't. She's not Mystic, if that's what you're going to ask.
No. I'd like to know how much work did she put into this, basically? How much work do these?
I reckon it's like 3 or 4 minutes, a fag and a coffee before the shot.
Oh shit! What I've got to say. Give me an occupation that I've not done yet. Yeah, give me an occupation we've not mentioned. TV salesman. I think it's a good day for a TV salesman.
You might have once read a book by an author.
You get TV salesmen these days.
I've never heard of a TV salesman.
TV salesman? Do people like used to knock on doors and say, "Do you want to buy TV?"
Makes me think of. I don't think it's what he did. But what's that? Only 21 hours from Tulsa.
You went a TV.
Am I mixing up so many different things there?
That was Gene Pitney, weren't it?
Yeah, but it was a Shell advert where you could collect tokens for TVs or something.
Right, TV salesman job, right? TV salesman.
21 TVs from Tulsa.
TV presenter vacancies, mate. We could be getting onto that instead of fucking about with this podcast. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it is a job. TV sales, but now TV salesman. Anyway,
TV salesman.
Yeah. Anyway,
TV. Think about how much that'd be. Such an awful. You got TV? Yeah. Ah, shit. Like just next door.
Yeah.
You got TV?
Yep. Yeah. Got one.
All right. See you later.
Got any interest in this one? No. You're all right, mate.
I've got one.
we'll obviously do a bit more on the. Well, we'll touch on it now if you want. Mystic Meg. The people. Who's the most famous lottery winner? Would you say?
I think there's one very clear answer that
I
assume is the same one that you're thinking of.
I've done a slight bit. I read an article in the Daily Mirror on one of them. Which
this is the guy who was a bin man.
Yes.
Who spent it on drugs and turning his garden into a destruction derby. Was absolutely slated by the media, but actually, do you know what? He probably kind of got it right, didn't he? Really, like that's.
Michael Carroll, who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed king of the Chavs. He won £9.7 million, which is the equivalent of 20 million today. Yeah, at 19 years
massive
old.
gold chain. I remember that.
He played up to that Chav thing. You were quite mean because a lot of people, obviously, when they win, you could take. Remember that box you could take. I don't think you might still have it.
Yeah.
Do you want to be?
Do you want the celebrity status almost?
Yeah. I don't know what I take there. Probably, yeah. No,
I would never want it. I don't want it.
No, I don't, yeah. But well, to be honest, a lot of people threatened his family and stuff once because obviously he was so famous, and everyone knew he was a fucking multi-millionaire. So people
I think the worst thing
they killed his dogs. Honestly, five of his dogs got killed because they wanted some money and he didn't pay it, and dog's dead. So.
I mean, obviously that's awful. Two things that makes me think of. One is that I used to work with an Irish guy on site, on a building site, who used to regularly say to me, because he thought it was a tongue tweezer.
Yeah.
Ken Dodd's dad's dogs died.
Ken Dodd's. I think it was a name of a band, a punk band. Ken Dodd's dad's dead.
But he just used to say it to me as I walked past him sometimes.
It's hard to say. Ken Dodd's dog. Imagine if I say hello, where Ken Dodd is all gigs. Like Ken Dodd.
Welcome to the stage. Ken Dodd's dad dog died.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. He was a part-time bin man. He didn't even have a bank account. Michael Carroll. So I don't know what they must have been cashing out.
I can't even think of the second thing that made me think of. To be fair.
Oh, sorry. I put it in. But yeah.
Go on. What were we talking about?
Michael
they killed his dogs.
All right. Yeah.
He won a lottery. Yeah, I don't know.
Who remembers? Not you.
Who remembers my second point?
Who remembers your second point? You haven't got one.
I kind of felt sorry for him because he was slightly sort of just Chavs kid who won a lot of money, but people were really sort of hating on him for winning the money. But it's like, and I remember Furness at the time, our mate was at uni, and he'd got into an argument with someone who'd said, but they shouldn't give him the jackpot because he's a convict or an ex-convict or something.
He wasn't at the time, though. He wasn't at the time.
Had he got some sort of minor history for?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, he did get. I think he got done for a fray later on, but I think that was post.
But if you sell that guy the ticket, you have to accept that he can win it and he can do what he wants. And if what he wants to do with that money is to buy a stately home, smash cars up in his garden,
put £1 million into Rangers Football Club about 2 weeks before they went into admin, which was a terrible move.
Yeah, I'm less happy about that part of it. But yeah. But no, that's it's up to him. It's his money, own decisions.
I think if you are a free man, if they're going to sell you the ticket, you can't just say, "Well, you can't."
No, exactly. Yeah, if you can buy the ticket, you're entitled to the winnings. And what you do with those winnings, as long as it sits within the law.
Well, he didn't then because he spent £3,000 a day on cocaine and prostitutes apparently. So obviously both against the law.
Well, yeah, but I suppose the law wasn't fit to police that, was it?
But according to the Daily Mail, he was known for his outrageous sex parties where he would instruct naked women to carry cocaine on trays and end the night bedding 8 women at a time. I love, why 8? Like, why every night? I've done 7.
Yeah.
Really not in mood, yeah.
How many of you is there? How many? 7 of us. No, forget this. Where's the 8th? I cannot believe that you thought you'd get away with 7 women in this bedroom tonight.
Yeah,
I think he lived the dream for a while. Good luck to him.
Well, that's what he said. A quote from him here, actually. He said he has no regrets, and it was the best 10 years of my life for £1.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't have any I mean,
he did end up homeless. Bankrupt.
Yeah, it's not a great ending, but I'm saying for those 10 years.
He's back with his wife now, and he's a coal delivery man now, so he's a decent, earning a decent day's wage.
As long as nobody I can't condemn him unless anyone was exploited or abused. If it was just him just living the life and that everyone got paid for what they got paid for and that he did what he wanted to do, good luck to him. I ain't got any problems with it.
Well, can I get you Mikey Carroll? Yeah, and he's only 19. All right, dickhead at 19.
Exactly,
I mean, to be honest, I probably wouldn't have had a demolition derby in my garden even with that money. But you know,
you were sick on my feet at 19 when I slept on the floor next to your bed. So that's what.
And I weren't even a millionaire. So,
well, no, not that.
Not that particular point. Now, another story I want to get your opinion on. Martin and Kay Tott, who bought a National Lottery winning ticket, but they left it too late to collect the £3 million that they won. Because I didn't know this, but if you don't collect it within the first 30 days, you're not allowed it.
I mean, that's heartbreaking. But if that's the rule,
I'm going to ask you: are you the rules of the rules, man? Because Richard Branson and Tony Blair voiced their support. Richard Branson actually flew him out to his privately owned Necker Island for a week to cheer him up, and Branson and Blair were campaigning, saying, "Give him the Geldof, give us your fucking money." But Camelot,
where's the cut off though?
Well, exactly. Yeah. Camelot said no.
You've got to have a time. If that's the rule, that's the rule, and you'd be absolutely unless it's out. If you're in a coma for 30 days, I think that's very different. But I think if you have the ability to go and claim it and you don't, that unfortunately that's awful. But that sits with you. I mean that must be so hard to live with.
Well, they split up because obviously they were arguing also. They said we're arguing constantly about the ticket. Imagine that, just like, can you get us a drink? Oh yeah, probably forget that. Like, you forgot that fucking ticket. Do you know what I mean? Like, a bit every little situation.
Put hung the washing out on the line. Yeah, probably. I'll probably remember that. Remember when you didn't remember to go and collect that?
Because there must have been one of them who I don't know. I'm trying to think. I suppose you just put it on every week, don't you, without thinking? Like,
I mean, unless. Like their sort of internal debate was, oh God, because actually I think there's an argument for that winning the lottery could ruin your life. Like, and we've obviously talked about Carroll, but he wasn't really going anywhere. But I would imagine if you're a sort of stable person in a normal family life, almost the worst thing that could happen to you is an injection of money.
Loads and actually, yeah,
this refreshes me back to my second point of the thing that I would think I would hate about winning the lottery is the begging letters and obviously the fraud sort of stuff would really irritate me. But the bit I would find really hard is if I've got a chunk of money in my bank and somebody's saying my daughter needs this sort of chemotherapy and it's really expensive, and it must be awful to sort of justify to yourself that no, I'm going to leave that £5 million in my bank whilst your daughter dies.
Yeah, and you get people who.
But then you can't do that for everyone because then the money's just gone.
It reminds me of that Eminem lyric. All of a sudden, I've got 90 dozen cousins, and he goes, "Hey, it's me." In the background. Yeah, I know what you mean though, because like you would get people, second cousins, going, "Hey, Liam, I hate to do this to you, mate." But
I mean, I'd love to help everyone out, but the problem with that is that then all of a sudden it's just gone.
Yeah, Duncan James from Blue. Yeah, you can't be helping everybody.
Well, I mean, certainly not these days. No, I'm no Duncan James from Blue, but you can't help everyone because. Like where does that end? That's just an unlimited pot of money that you don't have. That would be great. It would be brilliant. I suppose this is where if you get a wish, isn't it? What would you like? Would you? But even then, if you sort of said, well, I don't want any kids to be ill, but then you'd feel awful that the kid's mum's ill and the kid's saying to you, my mum needs this treatment.
All right, mate, it's a bit deep.
Yeah, but I've got a fucking self-destruction derby in my back garden. Like.
Yeah, but look at that. Look how good that is. We've got a mate, actually. I'll not say his name. I reckon he won't give a shit. I think he'd just say, yeah, but I wanted a destruction derby.
Yeah, I wanted a good time. Yeah, that's it. I think you've got to have that sort of selfish streak to.
But I think a lot of people
really enjoy it.
I think it's a bit of a myth. They say, a lot of working class people win it, and they don't really know anything about money. They don't know what to do with it. But a lot of the stories that I've read, and I've only done a little bit of reading into it. It's a lot of people, like you say, who's giving money away to decent causes or people, and then they run out because they want a big house, obviously, because you win. That's what you do. It's a status thing or whatever.
First thing you do, yeah.
And then and even Mike Carroll's probably given £3-4 million out to mates and things like that. And I've read another one with a woman who was saying that people just kept like saying, like her mates were going, can we take us on that holiday to Ibiza or whatever? And she'd feel like a complete dick for saying no. No, I'm not doing
Yeah,
this.
it's like 10 grand and you've got 5 million in your bank.
But you keep doing that forever and ever. I don't want to win it, which is a good job because I don't play it.
I've always thought I would never want to win massive money. I'd like to win a chunk of money that helps me and my sort of close family out. That you certainly won't know about it. It won't look like spread out to sort of friends and extended family. Just sort me out, I think.
Yeah.
Selfish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what the first thing you do if you won. Like, obviously, we've got fucking
property is the first thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm thinking that, but I'm also thinking, what about a nice retro guitar or something like that? Like, I don't know.
You had a good 12-string guitar at one point.
I could get another 12-string guitar. I think there's a Jack D sketch where he's on about it's always the most boring people who win the lottery, and he's just like, I might buy a new pen, but apart from that, I'm like, do you know what I mean? People say it's not going to change my life. It would change your life, I'm afraid. What's the point of fucking playing it?
Yeah, and that really annoys me. There was that thing, weren't it? Like,
give it me.
I'm saying fairly recently, but we're getting old now, so it might not be. It might be 10 years ago, but there was something like some couple won it, and they said, "Oh, yeah, we've won 8 million, but we're just going to keep running our sandwich shop because we don't really need the money." Don't fucking play the game then.
Yeah. Don't play the game. They'd be like, I'll just do it. I might, have an extra pudding on a Sunday, but other than that, I'll just keep it. I'll just keep watching Terry Wogan on the TV at night. I don't want to go out. Yeah, fuck off. Give it me.
Live the dream. I'll just keep watching Terry Wogan at night.
That's it. Well, to be honest, it doesn't sound that bad. To be fair, I won't mind that.
Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah, but that's all I've got, Liam, and I think that's the first episode covered off in terms of what we were going to do with the first ever national lottery. It's a low key start. Like I said, what I'm seeing this as is, but I think I said this to you privately. When bands release singles off the new album, they'll think like, "Oh yeah, put that out." But that's interesting.
The first one's never the big hitter, is it?
Then the third one, you're like, "Fuck, we haven't decided what the third one is."
Just got to set the scene. So we're hoping. I suppose the main thing is because the other thing with the Living with Maley podcast is that the first episode very very raw, first thing we'd ever recorded.
Compared to this.
This
polished masterpiece.
Yeah, it's like a marble, isn't it? Polished down to the fine details. But I never kind of quite liked that people would go back to that, and that wasn't quite really what we were about.
But this is something you can put your name to.
Well, at least I think this is kind of the vibe we're going for. It's going to be pretty chilled. We're going to be having a chat.
Two lads,
some laughs and some memories.
Two lads with a lustful life, just remembering things.
Yeah, the deck was stacked against them, but they've had a great time regardless.
They've had a good time regardless, and they don't want to win the lottery. So that's the first episode done and dusted. Cards on the table, Liam. This is what do you call it? Yeah, I'm trying to think of a better word for it, but it is a re-record, not fade away ending. Because we were going to do Barrymore next week. We've recorded Barrymore. We don't know where Barrymore is, though, do we, William?
No, we don't know if there's some sort of conspiracy, but we obviously didn't record either part to the Barrymore recording. I
can only think Michael's had something to do with that, but...
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best piece of audio you would have ever heard, but now you can't hear it. We might hear it at some point.
We probably will do Barrymore, but so we thought we'd play it safe because we think Barrymore might be onto us. So we're going to go Blur versus Oasis. And I'll be honest, we've already recorded this, which is why we've had to do a re-recorded.
It's a cracker.
Oh, it's fucking unbelievable. I've not heard it back, but... Oh, no, I have heard it back. Yeah, I have heard it back because, again, we thought we'd lost that, didn't we, at one point? So
we've lost. We'll tell you when we get there, but yeah, we've lost part one of our upcoming episode 4 as well. So we're having
we've lost that, so we're having to re-record that. So it's all
disaster.
good.
So anyone joining us who knows the Living with Madeley historics will not be surprised that we're having technical difficulties.
But if you're a new listener, don't let that put you off because we do always re-record at least. So,
If anything, it's one of our strengths, isn't it? That we get it wrong, but we own up to it.
Very much unlike a certain football team that I support, we get ourselves off the canvas and we go again, don't we?
Yeah, we dust ourselves down and we roll with the punches, don't we?
We roll with the punches. Right, I will see you next time, Liam. Even though it will be, I've already done it. So,
is there anything that we're advising anyone to watch for the Blur v Oasis? Is there a certain documentary or certain?
Yeah, just put Blur and Oasis into YouTube and you'll see the hype. Country House. If you're not, I presume everyone knows the songs, but the two songs that go head to head are Country House and Roll with It.
Yeah, so maybe listen to both those and send us anything you remember about this era. Who are your favourites? What sort of things come to mind when you think back?
Don't say stuff like, well, I was a pulp man, because I understand a lot of people do prefer pulp, but this, I don't like it when people. That's not the question. I'm asking you prefer out of Blur and Oasis.
Well, I think who do you prefer at the time and who do you prefer now?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but I've often say I've noticed this quite a lot with people who don't like. I don't know, weren't really into Britpop or whatever. And I don't know. I think they feel like it makes them sound smart. So, who did you prefer, Blur or Oasis? I was more of a Suede man, actually.
I always liked a bit of Dodgy myself.
Yeah, I was like, I was like Dodgy and Cooler Shaker were my boys. Anyway, I'll see you for that one, Liam.
Yeah, that was it. First one done. First one in the can. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to Who Remembers. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us at whorememberspod@outlook.com. If you are a right-wing fascist, you can find us on Twitter at whorememberspod. Or if you're a wokenaut, you can find us on Blue Sky at whorememberspod. Once again, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time for more remembering.